All right. Stephanie, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted.
I am so excited to hear about you and how you created the sticky fairy from nothing, I think. So we'll hear more about that in just a second. But just to get to know you a little bit personally, if you could be a fairy tale or fictional character, tell us who you would be and why.
I think you could guess this one given my Instagram name. It would have to be some sort of fairy godmother or Tinkerbell, a fairy that spreads her fairy dust wherever it's needed. Yeah, that's definitely me. I would have said Wonder Woman or, one of those, not cliches, but the typical characters, but it would have to be a fairy.
Okay. All right. We've watched Maleficent recently. So I have those three little fairies that help Aurora came to mind as well, but I don't know if they have any special power. So we'll stick with those two.
As a fairy, you have all the powers you want. That's at least how I interpret it.
Oh, okay. Well, then sure, make me a fairy too. Why not?
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
Yeah. All right. So, can you take us through your career journey to becoming the sticky fairy today? Where did you start? Because I'm pretty sure you didn't start with sticky notes or anything of that sort. So, give us the high level version of where you started and where you are today.
Of course. So it's actually going to take me back to when I was 2 months old and I was diagnosed with a bunch of health issues. So
Oh.
I was really, really sick from early on. I had eczema, I had allergies, I had asthma. I spent lots of nights in the hospital. It was rough. And so my sort of entire life has been all about trying to find a cure for all the health issues I had. And I was always told that they were chronic and that nothing could be done. And I just refused to accept that because it didn't feel right. Why me and why from such an early age? And then after university and after working for a year, hating it, I just decided that I was born to be an entrepreneur. I moved to London and I started writing a free from cookbook with, free from gluten, dairy, all the typical things that seem to have a negative effect on some people's bodies. And I wrote the cookbook, and then I started a brand called Helpings, which was all about food that could help you to feel better. The irony being that I wasn't feeling any better and I was on practically every diet. I tried everything. And the more I tried and did, the worse I got because I was so focused on what I couldn't eat. And I was so fearful of all the things that I was told that wouldn't be good for me. And I did that for 5, 6 years. I was learning marketing and I was building websites and I was doing all sorts of things because I was an entrepreneur and I was sort of getting into the online space while still feeling really, really bad. And then I kind of realized that the food part of it wasn't quite right for me, not just because it wasn't working for me, but because I was quite bored by writing recipes. I mean, I have 600, I have 1,000 professionally taken photos of my dishes. I have enough content, for years, and I will probably start using that again. But it didn't feel right for me. And that was exactly when I met another Finnish entrepreneur. I am from Finland originally. And we decided to go into business together and start a chocolate company. And that company was also very much in line with what I had done before because it was chocolate sweetened with dates and made with coconut milk. So it again suited all alternative diets for people with not necessarily diabetes because they shouldn't eat much sugar anyhow, but gluten-free, dairy-free, all of that low in sugar.
Is this
And
why you say it was illegal, an illegal chocolate bar?
yes,
Okay.
because of the law, chocolate is only allowed to be called chocolate if it's made with sugar, and dates aren't classified as sugar, even if they're exactly that. And
Interesting. Who knew?
Crazy, right? And so we had a Swiss factory, and they would not put the word chocolate on the package because it was against the law. So we on the package it said cacao product, which sounds ridiculous. Everybody knows it's a bar of chocolate. But we came to the launch date, and I was like, we're selling chocolate, but we couldn't say that. I mean, on the packages, sure, we talked about a chocolate company sort of officially and everywhere. But then one night, as I was lying awake at night in despair, it dawned on me that that was the greatest marketing campaign ever, because you could just use it and talk about making illegal chocolate, and nobody would ever forget it after that, because you would want to know what that means. What do you mean illegal chocolate?
Hence me asking the question. I'm like, you put that was in your bio. I needed to know why this was
You
illegal.
go. And once you've heard it once, you will never forget cacao anymore, because it's just a thing. So it
Okay.
actually turned out to be a huge advantage. And so I did that, started the company, invented a whole new bar of chocolate. Nobody had done it. This was in 2017. And then soon after, me and my co-founder didn't get along anymore. We went through a really sad legal battle, and I ended up taking over the company. And about a year later, I was diagnosed with trauma after going through that legal battle and having, I never envisioned myself as a solo entrepreneur taking over a chocolate company. I knew nothing about chocolate. I knew that I liked it, and I
Yeah.
liked eating
Same.
it, sure, like as the rest of the world. But apart from that, I had no idea, and I had never run a company at that scale, because that's logistics, and it's import exports. It was not only creating a fun brand. I'm great at that. I'm that's easy for me, but the whole other side of the business was just new to me. And then once we had gone through all the hurdles of inventing a bar and getting it out to market and getting it into stores, that's when selling begins. You haven't even started selling. It's one thing to get it out into a store, but it's a different thing to actually sell it over and over again. And then I discovered, small details like chocolate melts and it needs to be stored at the right temperature. And there were all these small things that I had, as any other normal person would never have thought of them, but
Yep.
they are really difficult to deal with. And so 2018, I was diagnosed with trauma. I was having suicidal thoughts. I was depressed. I couldn't sleep. I was covered in eczema from top to toe. I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. It was just like the problems that I had had before were just all turned up to a whole new level where I was just freaked out.
Wow. It's like all consuming. And I'm just wondering too, like on the personal side, I feel like it's all stemming from business. Was there other stuff on the personal side too, or was the business just all consuming?
It was just everything that was hard.
Okay.
And I think the fact that I had always tried so hard with my health, that was always my focal point, and still I couldn't get that to work. It felt like I had a very sort of shaky foundation. There wasn't much, like, how do I say it? My energy reserves were just non-existent. So when shit really hit the fan, I had nothing to lean back against. And I think that's why I had to crash and burn so badly. But it kind of had to happen because I used to be a perfectionist. I was always really hard on myself, typically in so many ways. I think most people listening can relate to it in one way or another. And I really had to get to a place where there wasn't anything else for me to do but to let go of who I thought I was. And the only thing I had left to work with was my mind. And that was the hardest part, because I had tried every diet, I had made every change. I had moved countries, I had let go of people, I have like moved apartments, moved friends. I had done it all, and I was still sicker than ever.
Ugh.
And so 2019, I found myself alone in an apartment in London, so sick. And I had no idea what to do. And that's when the real transformation started, because that was me just peeling off layer after layer. And at some point, things changed, but it was a hard lesson.
Wow. I imagine many lessons. You're peeling back the layers, many lessons.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait, now you're at this low, but I'm starting to see there's a little bit of light poking through if you're, working on the mental aspect and you're getting the lessons. So when did you start writing sticky notes?
So then 2019, I spent walking, taking long baths, doing nothing. At the end of the year, I found Dr. Joe Dispenza and his meditations, started meditating very seriously. And then it was about 2 years of meditating, spending a lot of time alone. The pandemic happened, which didn't change much for me because I was already sort of living in my own cocoon, just licking my wounds literally and trying to feel better. And then along those lines, 2022, I went to a Dr. Joe Dispenza event, and my skin healed before that event. I had meditated a lot, and I had changed everything about my life, the way I thought, the way I felt, my sort of just my whole idea of myself, who I was and where I wanted to go and why I lived on this earth. I had had a lot of time to think about those things and ultimately what made me happy. And so I went to that event and I ended up on stage in front of 2,000 people talking about my story, and it was awesome. And then I came back.
Was that planned? Was the on stage planned?
No, I had envisioned it in my mind thousands of times, because that was part of me thinking that I could heal myself with the power of the mind, because I've always believed in it, but I didn't know if it was a reality for me. And then I did it, and I ended up talking about how I had envisioned standing on that stage and sort of going through that journey. And I have I think the first photo of one of my sticky notes is on the ride to Dr. Joe's event, in the airplane toilet where I left one of the first ones.
Wow. Okay, wait. I have so many ways to go, but I want to stay focused on the sticky notes. What did the note say in the bathroom? What compelled you to leave a note in the bathroom? And then tell us more about the notes.
So during this time when I was in a tiny little apartment alone in London, I was actively changing my thoughts and therefore changing the way I felt, because your thoughts sort of create your reality and they turn into emotions. And the other way around, emotions turn into thoughts. And I was actively just changing them, because I had been so conditioned to think of myself as a sick person since I was born, because that was what it was like. And then to change my mind and start seeing myself as somebody who was healthy and somebody who could eat anything she wanted and do anything she wanted and be in any kind of environment and not have a violent reaction, that took a lot of energy and a lot of time. And so initially, before I took the notes out into the streets, I put them out everywhere in my apartment, so that every time I open a cabinet or went and looked myself in the mirror, instead of getting that instant voice telling me something about the way I looked or about how I was, there was a better thought staring at me from the Post-it note.
I love that.
So that's sort of how it started. And it was just to help me think better, because I was so stuck in the default chatter that I just didn't know how to change it. And that's why I started writing the notes. And then one day after the event, I thought, what if somebody else would need the same kind of encouragement? Because everybody struggles with the same negative self-talk and low self-esteem, and just, everybody listening knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes. Me, definitely me. Okay.
Exactly. And that's why I then started writing these notes. And I was I had already healed quite far by then, but I wasn't healthy enough. I didn't have enough energy to work and actually do full-time something, look for a job or kind of take that step yet. And my only desire was to write these notes. And it was so strange. And I kept asking my mom, I was like, am I crazy? And she was like, no, well, if that's what your intuition is saying, then follow it. And so I would write 50 notes a day, and I would walk around for a couple of hours, and I would put up these notes on bus stops and lampposts, wherever I could hang them. And I did that for 8 months. And I started an Instagram account pretty quickly, but it had like 27 followers, for months and months.
Yeah.
And again, the idea was not to build it into a massive thing. I was just doing something that I loved doing. And then I thought it was weird that there were all these notes without sort of a next step. What do you do when you see this note? So that's why I started the account. And one day I was walking in the park, which is where I always get my best ideas. And I thought, well, of all the people that you could be, I would love to be a fairy who's just, spreading good vibes. And I'm doing it with sticky notes, so I'll just call myself the Sticky Fairy.
Cool.
And then
I have
yes.
a question. I think I saw you post something about, because you said you felt like you needed to start the Instagram handle for it. But I think you said something like, I wasn't ready to show my face. Like, so I just showed my hands. Like you weren't dancing, you weren't doing anything crazy, but you wanted to share them, and it was just you writing them.
Yeah, nobody knew, not even. So I had my profile picture on Instagram was like a bright yellow sticky note like this one with black text saying the Sticky Fairy, super ugly. And that was my profile picture for nearly a year. None of my friends knew that I was doing this in any other countries. It was a very small group of people who knew that I was doing something. And every time, to be honest, when I mentioned it, it got weird because people were like, you're doing what? You're writing sticky notes? And I was like, yeah, I know. I don't have any logical explanation for it apart from the fact that it feels right and I don't know what else to do. So I'm just doing this.
Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying. Because I feel like so many people too get caught up on the social media piece of like, I don't want to. And I just wanted to clarify, like you weren't out there putting yourself and dancing. It was just the notes.
Yeah. And there's so many ways nowadays to start faceless accounts. You can literally build a massive business online without showing your face. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because people buy from people and they like seeing your face. But if that's the main reason why you're not doing it, then start like I did and just show your hands or your nose or, whatever part of your body that you're comfortable with putting out. Do that.
All right. So then how long were you consistently posting, just showing hands, putting them around the city like then? And you said, okay, now what?
8 months.
Okay.
It was thousands and thousands of notes. The first ones were really bad. Like when I look back in my feed and in my Dropbox, they were so basic. And I always, when somebody has imposter syndrome, or when somebody is asking me about beginning, I tell them to go and look back. Because that's where you see that everyone who started creating content was equally shit at it. It's always just so ugly. I mean, if you watch the big YouTubers right now, Mr. Beast, who is one of the biggest ones.
My kids know Mr. Beast.
You go. And it's all, even he was crap at the beginning. So all it takes is just repetition. And eventually you'll get good at it.
Wow. Yeah. And imposter syndrome comes up all the time, like almost every episode, right? We all have it. We've all been there. It still comes up, even the people that are like, 10,000 steps ahead of you. Yep. But it's just the nature of the beast, right? So, yep. Okay. So wait, when did these start going viral then? And when did you figure out, all right, I got to make some money because this is important. People are paying attention.
Yeah. It took me 8 months of doing work that went fairly unnoticed. And me thinking, what the hell are you doing? You should just do something that makes sense, and still continuing to do what I was doing. And then it was October 2021. Yeah. When I had this idea, I live next to London Bridge train station in London,
Okay.
one of the biggest train stations. And I went past there and I had a thought, and I thought, why don't I ask them if they want to do something with me to extend the life cycle of a post-it note? Because it rains not that much, not as much as people think in London, but it still rains. And, you know, if it rains 2 seconds after I put up a note, it's gone. So I asked them if they wanted to do something. I didn't hear back. A couple of weeks later, I went on TikTok, no experience. I just had this impulse when I was walking in the park where something within me told me to go on TikTok. Mind you, none of my friends, none of my peers use TikTok. They, you know, most people on there, I guess, were 12 when I started.
I do think of it as the younger crowd. Okay.
Yeah. And so, you know, I felt like a mammoth and I just thought, what the hell am I doing here? But I had this strong urge of going on TikTok. And 10 days later, I went viral. And then I got 20 million views in the first month, 20 million views in the second month. It just kept spiraling. It was wild. And it was just me filming my hands writing the quotes. And they were funny. And I was adding viral music to them, but they were still very basic. And so to date, I have about, I think it's 110 or 120 million views on my videos.
Wow.
But I had still not figured out how to monetize the notes because I had never intended on doing what I ended up doing, making videos on social media and being a sticky fairy. Like that was never in my dream, so to speak. Yes, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but not, I hadn't planned on it in this way. And then as I got more frustrated and as I learned more about the online space and learned different ways of monetizing, I just started, I just dove into the different ways of how to do it. And I started an Etsy shop and I turned my handwriting into a font that I created product with on Etsy. And I was doing digital products and I was trying all these things, but they were very time consuming. And
I was gonna say any one piece you just mentioned has like a gazillion steps behind it. Like,
yes.
Let me sell my fonts on Etsy. Okay, how the heck do you start that? Right. So all of those felt like massive projects. Keep going.
and that's, I think that's the good side or my strength as an entrepreneur, but also a weakness because I get excited about something and I just decide to do it. Like when I saw a video on TikTok, it was a how-to video on how to start an Etsy shop. And you got two images. First, it was like, step one, you sign up on a print on demand page. Step two, you connect it to Etsy. Done. And I was like, hey, that sounds great. I'll do that. That's not how it works. Sure, but you've eliminated like 460 steps in between. And every project that I've done since I started with the Sticky Fairy has been very much like that, where I had an idea and I thought that it was going to be way easier and way faster, and it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, then what did you I'm waiting for the latest because I know it's not Etsy shop. That's not where you're focused.
And so I'm just trying to, I guess, walk your audience through my thought process where I started to learn about the online space. I had already worked with websites and I had built landing pages and I had built all sorts of automated email processes.
All self-taught. You just figured it out as you went along.
And I did a lot of email. I did a lot of online courses. So I've probably done 15 courses throughout my time. Like that's, if you're in the online space or if you want to get into the online space, that's how you learn. I have a master's degree in marketing. And as good as it is, it doesn't serve me in this space. Like you do not, that doesn't change anything, because if you're online, you have to learn online. And if you're somebody who wants to be in this space, just watch somebody who is doing something cool. I am sure that they have a course or something that you can learn from, and just start investing in yourself, because that's how I've learned.
Wow.
And so I was doing lots of courses, and I was teaching myself a lot of things also through YouTube, but mostly through courses, and just setting things up and building website after website and writing email after email and learning about hooks and captions and all of this stuff that, you know, you learn when you're online. And my sort of challenge was the fact that I wanted to monetize my content, but I wanted to find an authentic way to do it without it being too in your face, and without having to tie myself to one brand or one product. And eventually I then came across affiliate marketing, which is just another word for promoting products and services that you don't own. So up until that point, I had done digital marketing because I created my own products, whether it was a physical cookbook or a digital product or a print on demand product that somebody else shipped for me. And then I promoted these things and I sold them. And then affiliate marketing is so cool because you don't own any of the products and services that you promote, but you also don't have the risk. You don't have any inventory. You don't have to do any of the customer service. The only thing you have to do is drive traffic to pages where products are sold. And if somebody buys through your link, you get a commission. And if you do high ticket affiliate marketing, you earn a high commission. So you don't have to sell as much, but you just drive the traffic there.
Question. So then the difference between an affiliate versus a sponsor or an ad where somebody says, look, I'm using this brand of cereal and it's so great, is if it's a sponsored ad and I show you the cereal, that's it. I got a one-time payment to tell you about the cereal type thing. I mean, obviously the details could be different, but if I'm an affiliate, I'm saying, check out this cereal. It's really great. Click my link to get the cereal. And that way they can track and kick back whatever to me. That's the difference.
That is the difference. It's not always going to be like that, but sponsored posts, for example, on Instagram are usually paid per post or per package. So you get $500 by showing this product X amount of times in your post or in your stories. Affiliate marketing is smarter because you get a consistent cut. So it's not, because if you promote something once, it's, you know, how many people see your posts? Like, it's a fraction of your audience anyway. And if you're an affiliate and you keep promoting the same things over and over again, you get a cut every time somebody sells something.
Okay.
And the other smart thing about it is that, first of all, you can do faceless accounts. So nobody needs to know what you're doing or what you're selling. You could literally run an entire business without anyone in your community knowing anything about what you're doing. And the other smart thing about it is that if you're an employee who's in a job and you're already making recommendations, because everyone makes recommendation all day long anyway, you could monetize those so that every time somebody asks you what kind of software you use or what app you use or whatever that thing is or where you went on holiday, you send them a link and you get paid. So it's actually like you could monetize pretty much everything you do, but people just don't get it because we haven't been taught how to do it. And affiliate marketing has been around since the 1980s, but it exploded during the pandemic when people were at home, and it's much cheaper for brands to pay for affiliate marketing than to have physical stores or to pay for paid traffic. Because sure, as an affiliate marketer, you don't earn anything unless something is sold through your link. But once you do, you earn a lot. And so there's no risk on either side. And what most people don't know is that 86% of brands have affiliate programs. It's practically every brand in the world that you already love has an affiliate program that you sign up to with a click of a button and you start straight away.
Okay, my mind is blown because I knew like, this much of what you've just shared, not a lot. You can't see me, but I'm showing the not a lot symbol. Um, what was I going to ask? Oh, so do you follow that first method of nobody knows you're promoting? Because I see you talk about the affiliate marketing, but I don't see you promoting a brand to me necessarily, unless I missed that, those are the posts that I miss. So do you do that in a separate place? Are you doing it in your email? Are you going with that faceless route? How is that working?
I do all of it. I
Okay.
try different things.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do a little bit of affiliate marketing through my own Instagram all the time. There's links here and there, and I show how it's done. And I promote a course that teaches you how to do affiliate marketing.
Oh,
But
that
then,
I have seen, but I didn't even register that. Okay.
so that's also affiliate marketing.
Mm.
Absolutely. And the reason why I did that was that I've spent 10, 13 years learning online marketing, but I'm not particularly passionate about teaching the ins and outs of how to do it because I already know how to do it. That's what I do.
Yep.
And then when it clicked, the part that was missing for me was understanding how the web works. So when you understand how much opportunity there is in this field, because you can literally promote anything you want in any way you want to anyone you want at the same time. So you don't have to have one product that you promote. You could work in several different niches and still do it well because you have different audiences. Or maybe let's say that you work in a tech company and you already recommend a lot of tech products to different people. And then on the side, you have a dog and you're super passionate about all things pets. And you have a community and an email list with people who are just as into dogs as you are. Then you could promote different products to both these audiences, like without having to intersect each other at all. And nobody would know, but you would make money from two different niches, and it would work perfectly. So you can play with the system in any way you want, and you can do it on the side. You can start a side hustle when you're in another job to slowly replace your salary if you're uncomfortable or just hate your job in general, which I think you and I know something about.
Yep. Yep. I think we've all been there. Even those of us who love our jobs, there's days that are just like, I don't know.
Oh God. Yeah. And I mean and then I think the beauty of affiliate marketing is also the fact that sometimes you need to show yourself that you can do something. And the easiest way is probably to start with Amazon affiliates because it's super easy to sign up and you get a link with a click of a button, and then you add that to a couple of posts or send it to a couple of people, make some sales, and you see your sales straight away. It's real time. And that's how you sort of show yourself that you can do it. And step by step, you move up the scale and you find products and programs that pay better so that you have to do less work and you can earn more. But as with anything, you're not going to do this in 2 days. Like, don't be delusional. You didn't go to college for 2 days either. It took a while for you to learn the skills that you now
Mhm.
know. And the same thing is with affiliate marketing. But the cool thing is that once you've built the system and once you've built a couple of funnels, landing pages, which is easy to do nowadays, when you've done that, you can first of all clone them and add any product to them. And then you add automated emails, which you can also clone and do just add for different products. You create a money making machine that works around the clock. And the coolest part is when you wake up in the morning and you've made sales while you slept. And it's
Yeah.
such a cliche when you say that, ooh, you could make money when you sleep. But that's literally what you do because you take yourself out of the equation and you create this system that works around the clock because the internet is, 24/7. And then you work a couple of hours a day by creating content and writing more emails and maybe adding products to drive traffic to those places. But I think the biggest misconception that I had was that affiliate marketing isn't selling, it's lead generation. And
Mhm.
when you understand that, it's easier because people are pretty defensive about the idea of having to sell something, but all I'm doing is driving traffic to places.
Yeah, you're handing it over. Like, here you go. Check this out. You want
Yep,
to buy it? Great. Well, it's
that's
not my problem.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Two questions. One, the Amazon affiliate, because I've definitely checked this out and I sometimes get a little turned around. So are there, like, if say you don't have an online presence or following yet, are there limitations to what the average person can do, or can anybody be an Amazon affiliate?
Anyone can be an Amazon. I've never heard of anyone who hasn't become one. I think you need 0 followers. You
Okay, amazing.
file your details and like a PayPal account or your bank accounts, but it's very simple.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And then also, selfishly, because of my love of Asana, project management, organizing, when you started saying, like, oh, one brand over here and one brand there, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you keep all that organized? Right. So, can you tell us what are some of the challenges, or what have you seen the biggest challenge in learning in managing all these separate pieces? Because it's amazing to have the multiple streams of income, but I imagine it can also get a little messy.
It's not because it's just a link. Think about it. You sign up, you get one affiliate link per product or company. So for Asana, you would probably have your one affiliate link, which is what you stick everywhere. So if you today decide to make a post about Asana or managing your workflows or creating your calendar, you would add that link. Tomorrow, you would make a post about woolen socks that you're gonna gift to your, I don't know, mom for Christmas, and you would grab your link from Amazon for those woolen socks and you would add that link to the post. It's just the link. So it doesn't get messy at all. I have a page on my notes on my computer and my phone where I have the list of my links, and that's it. And I just copy paste them.
Wow. And Stephanie, you're probably going to yell at me, but I don't even have an affiliate link for Asana, but I talk about it all the time. They have a different program, so I'm working on it. But
Then I am going to yell at you.
um, so anyway, I've applied. I'm waiting. Um, so
Well,
will
that's
you
great.
not, what's that?
That's great.
So I'm working towards it. I just currently don't have one. Um, it's not as easy as someone like an Amazon or a Flowdesk or whatever, where it's just part of your profile. You grab the link and you go. Okay. I think my mind was going more to, if you wanted to map out all the email journeys and the links and things, I saw different steps in Asana. So I'm glad it's not overwhelming.
Well, I think you have to remember there's, I guess, a distinction between high ticket and low ticket affiliate marketing. If it's low ticket affiliate marketing, you wouldn't add an email sequence to it because there's no point. You would have to sell 100,000 woolen socks to make good money
Yep.
and drive traffic, and nobody needs 100 emails or like 10 emails about why to buy the socks. But if you're selling a course or a program or something that costs, let's say, excuse me, that costs more than $100, you would probably add an email sequence because people need to know more about the product.
Okay.
So you might end up having, I don't know, 5, 10 offers that you have actually mapped out and turned into sequences and like journeys. But there's no point in having loads of them until you see something that's working. So I wouldn't start by setting up 30 different links and journeys and offers just to try my luck. I would decide which niche I want to work in, what I really find interesting and want to talk about and can do so authentically just by being me and talking about what I'm interested in. And then I would pick a few products, pick a few programs that I find, and I would commit to those until I see some results, because otherwise you're going to get frustrated. And it's as with anything, the first sale is the hardest. The first 1,000 followers are going to be the hardest. It took me a year to get 1,000 followers on Instagram. It took me a year to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So everything takes time. And when you're a newbie, if you're anything like me, you think it's going to happen yesterday. You literally think it's going to be so quick, and nothing is like that. I've
Yeah.
tried to skip steps all my life. During the last 13 years, I tried my best. I hired marketing agencies. I had all these people do things for me because I just didn't want to go through the steps. And then finally with the sticky fairy, I was so sick and so broke that I had to go through that on my own. And that's when I learned it. You have to just do it.
And I was going to say, to emphasize that it doesn't happen overnight. You today spent 8 months putting these things out there with like not a plan and not sure what was next. So that was a testament to the consistency of like, I'm just going to keep going and see what happens, you know?
Yeah. And then I think the beauty is, first of all, momentum. When you do something consistently, momentum builds up. It's a given. It's one of the laws of the universe. You can trust that. And the same goes for the compound effect. Like if you do things over and over every day, if you do one push up today, you will probably be able to do two after a couple of days. And we forget that, and we forget just how much power there is in repetition and just showing up for yourself every day. And when you do, it's going to work. And there is no failing. The only time you fail is when you stop doing something. Up until that point, you're just trying different things until something works. Thomas Edison tried to invent the light bulb 9,999 times until he figured it out, and he had to put it up in an office building for free to convince people that it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And we think that we tried 3 times and then we were like, oh yeah, no, didn't work
Yeah.
out.
I tried that. I made a post and nobody said anything.
Yeah.
Oh, you did
I
one.
wrote I wrote 4 post-it notes and nobody said anything.
Yep. Wow. Such a good reminder. Really. It's again, it's simple, but not easy, right? To keep that top of mind. I'm curious what dreams you have next as the sticky fairy. What's this next chapter hold for you?
Oh, just joy. I think I spent so much time struggling. I've been so sick. I've been so deep down in despair. And the sticky fairy really helped me bounce back and get my priorities straight. And so my goal is to work as little as possible, have as much fun, and earn as much money as possible.
Hey, I think we can all relate to that goal.
And the naysayers will tell me that that's not possible. You can't do that. But affiliate marketing makes it possible because you can set up a system, and whatever your intention is going to work. That's another thing that I've worked. If you set an intention and it is your main priority, you will achieve it at some point. I've proven it with my health. I've proven it with finances. I've proven it in most areas of my life right now. And now I'm just curious about how much joy I could spread and how many cool companies I could start by making it really easy for myself and delegating as much as possible and leaving time for the things that I truly love doing.
Wow. I love hearing you say all of that because I feel like it's a dream that's inside so many of us. But I imagine most, including myself at times, question like that can't be like, you're just dreaming, right? But that's what this is all about. We're building the fairy tale. If we can dream it, we can make it happen, right?
Yes. And if you are around people who keep telling you that that's a fairy tale as if it doesn't exist, then hang around with somebody else because you're not going to get anywhere if you listen to that story. You have to be utterly, completely delusional about your life to believe that you can do something like that. But there are many people who have achieved it before us. And so I would love to be an example of that, but I also believe that it exists because I've seen it.
Love it. Stephanie, please share with our listeners where they can find you and get this into their lives daily.
Yes. So I'm at the Sticky Fairy everywhere on social media. I have a YouTube channel, both in the Sticky Fairy's name, but also in my own name, Stephanie Seege, where I share about my meditation journey. And it's kind of a very different side from the Sticky Fairy and the how to make money side and how to monetize your content. But those are probably the easiest way. I'm on every social platform apart from Twitter or X at the moment.
Awesome. We'll put all those links in the show notes so they can find you. But this was so much fun, Stephanie. I thought we were really just talking about inspirational post-it notes. So it was so much more. And I'm so excited for everyone to hear this. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's hit stop.